You're listening to the REITE Club podcast, where the focus is all about helping you grow your real estate investment portfolio and live the life you want to live. Come grow with us and join our community at thereiteclub.com. And now your hosts, Sarah Larby and Alfonso Salemi.
And we decided to pool our resources, and we started joint venturing with other investors into multifamily units. So we were able to purchase a 6-plex. We just closed on a 7-plex in Moncton in August, and we have a few under contract now. So that's kind of how it just totally escalated from that decision to commit to real estate as an investing strategy, and by hiring a coach. So that's really where I saw like the most exponential growth, is by hiring my coach, giving me that confidence, and then seeing the benefits of coaching and the unlimited like resources that come with having a coach, and then just going like full force into it. And also just honestly, like she told me, my coach, share your journey, because there are other people that are exactly where you are, and they need someone to be their light to show them that, you know, you can do this. And I have zero renovation background, and I'm scared all the time to get like my hands sawed off or things like that. So to me, if I can do it, I know other women can also do this. And it is scary, but with the right coach and the right support system, anything is possible. And that's what I learned in 2020. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's a great answer. And like you said, is the partnerships and now working with other investors, inspiring them, to bring on bigger projects, the 6-plex and 7-plex. So you mentioned Moncton. So is that where most of the multi units are right now, or where you're investing, or where you're spending most of your focus on?
Yes, we started shifting into the East Coast, because we are working with a partner, and she has a local expert team, teams there, and she has a local team there as well. And we're just seeing that shift in the market, and it's much more bang for your buck in terms of like larger multifamilies in the East Coast. So we're also working on another larger multifamily with our investor, and she's analyzing. It's a 24 unit, and so it's just the deals are getting bigger, but we're just getting more comfortable with them. And we also want to share these opportunities with other investors who, want to invest in real estate but aren't sure how to start. So by sharing our journey, they can see the progression. We went from single family homes to small multis, and now we're starting to go to the mid-range and larger multi within a year. So it's definitely doable. You just need to get out there and start talking to people who are doing what you want to do.
Yeah, and you mentioned a word, comfortable, and just even getting out of your comfort zone to do something, and over time you become comfortable with it. And many people are out there not taking action because it scares them. And just like even for me, like when I first bought the first piece of land to build on, I was worried, but I don't think if I didn't buy it, if I didn't push myself out of that comfort zone to say, I'm just going to buy a piece of land and we're going to do something different, I don't think that resort would have been even in the cards, So it's almost like you take that leap forward, then you get more comfortable with that, and you get comfortable with something else. And just having the right people around you is definitely huge. But to go back to obviously your husband, and he lost his job, how has that changed your life or your lifestyle with what you have now looking back? Like, is he going back to work? Is he done forever? Like, that?
Yeah, I'm sure he would like to. The thing with my husband, he's an aircraft maintenance engineer, so he works on airplanes. So he actually loves his job. So he does want to go back. And real estate is more of my passion. So he's been playing a very supportive role in terms of, helping me look through the inspection reports, analyzing deals, because he's like a math genius. So he's like my go-to for deal analysis. And so he's been doing a lot of that support work while I'm the one that's sort of, closing the deals, putting them together, etc. But at one point, he does definitely want to go back to work because he misses that atmosphere. It's totally different than real estate, like he has his crew and he's got his engines and he gets to work on them. So there is that component that he is definitely missing that aspect. And it was hard for him at the beginning because he was on temporary laid off. He was temporarily laid off, but then like 6 months later, it became official. So for 6 months, he was very hopeful to go back. So that was sort of an emotional roller coaster for him and for us as well. But then once we got like the final papers, that's when we were like, okay, we need to figure this out, because we can't just, be hopeful that you're going to go back to work. But at this point, we're at a really good like phase in our lives because of our real estate portfolio, that we're able to sustain the same lifestyle. And if he does go back, it would be by choice. So that's something we're very, very grateful for. And yeah, so like the power of real estate is amazing. Like it really can change your life, and it gives you the freedom to choose whether you want to go back to work or not. So that's where we are right now.
Yeah, I think Sarah and I have said it a few times, and I know once Sarah had left her job, or her job, and by myself as well, they'll almost considered unemployable, right? That you don't want to report to somebody else, or put that effort in for somebody else. And you working on all different types of projects. You mentioned the 20 plus unit, the 6 and 7. How here's a question, for finding properties out east, and getting again comfortable being uncomfortable and pushing yourself. How do you find those opportunities? You mentioned you have some good contacts, but you're obviously very personable, and we just met, and great personality, and great outlook on life altogether. But how do you keep active, or how do you find these opportunities in all different parts?
Yes, that's a great question. So the key is to be resourceful, and literally you have to tell people what you're looking for, because if you don't tell people what you're looking for, they won't have you, on their mind when something comes up. So everybody that you talk to, you have to let them know, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm looking for. If you know anybody, or if you hear anything, please let me know. And then they'll always sort of keep you, in their radar. So to me, it's a lot of networking and talking to people, because you can be on the computer and you can look up all the deals, but those deals aren't like the great deals, right? The great deals are the ones where, you're talking to your mortgage broker, and then his last client is thinking about selling his apartment building. So he's going to tell you, hey, you know what? My last client has this deal he might, sell. If he does, I'll ask him if he's really serious, and I'll let you know. And then boom, you have a deal, right? So it's really a matter of just letting people know what you're doing, what you're looking for, so that they can think of you when those deals happen. And like for myself, I always try to, when I talk to someone or when I meet someone, I always try to give them some sort of value, so that they'll remember me, or they'll keep me sort of, on their minds by doing something different, like either providing like free advice, or offering to help them in whatever it is that they're struggling with. So that way they'll just, they'll appreciate that help, and they always want to give back as well, because what goes around comes around, essentially. And that's how I sort of, that's how I do business.
Yeah, that is amazing. I mean, and you mentioned, off-market opportunities. Do you have some experience that maybe you can share of one of your deals that's how it happened? It wasn't necessarily on the MLS, but it was through word of mouth?
Yes, of course. This is my favorite story. So one of the townhouses that we bought in, I think it was about a year and a half ago, I was literally standing outside of a house that had a for sale sign, and I was waiting for our realtor, and he ended up being late. And this couple walked by, and they just randomly asked me, are you looking to buy that house? And I said, yes, we're just waiting. And then she said, well, we're thinking about selling our house. And then my radar was like, mom, I got to talk to her, right? So I just asked her, where the house was, what it looked like, why she's selling, so I just talked to her essentially. And then I asked for her phone number. She ended up inviting us over to look at the house, like right there. So we went and we saw the house. It looked great. And I just said, let's talk about the number and go back and just figure it out. And 3 days later, we had an offer. So the deal came to me, and I was just standing outside, like waiting for my realtor. So things like that happen all the time, because if you're not open to it, it won't happen. So maybe like a few years ago, I would have just said, yeah, we're looking for the house. And then she would have just kept walking by. But the minute I heard her say she was thinking of selling, I was like, tell me more. Like, why do you want to sell? How can I help you? Like, do you need to pay for your son's school? Like, what is the problem that you have that you're thinking that you need to sell this house? So how can I help you make that problem go away? So that's kind of how I look at it. And it happened. And she's so ecstatic because she was able to help her son. They bought a condo and she downsized. So it worked out really well for her.
Thanks for listening to the REITE Club podcast and joining our community of real estate investors online at thereiteclub.com, where the focus is about helping you grow. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks from your hosts, Sarah Larby and Alfonso Salemi.